And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. If you guys are new to us on Amazon, welcome. Glad you all could be with us. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button so you can stay connected with all of our programming here 6 days a week here on Amazon. You'll see it either here in this corner or down below. You will also see the books by our next guest. Now, you guys have to take a deep breath as I do this introduction. She's a award-winning mastery event planner, a best-selling author, an entrepreneur, and the host of her own podcast, Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. You guys can see it actually. We actually have it loaded here in the carousel, so you guys can go and subscribe to her podcast as well. Melissa Banks is back with us today to talk to us about her brand new book, The Dream Journal, her dream party that is coming up, as well as the new season of her show, Dream by Design. If you guys are not staying connected with her, we will let you guys know how to be to find her as well. Michael Martin, hello to you over there on IG. Glad you could be with us. But Melissa, welcome back to the broadcast.
Hello, Cyrus. It's always an honor and a pleasure to chat with you. I'm excited to be here.
Well, look, I appreciate that. It's always great to talk to you as well. A lot of great things that are happening with you. For those who listen to us on Conversations Daily News, they heard a bit of our radio interview we recently did during the news segment today. But Melissa, you've been able to do so much, and it really is based on the word that kind of is a part of everything I just talked about, and that is dream. What has it been like for you to have a dream, Melissa, and to see that dream being realized?
It's been amazing. Remember, everything starts with a dream, and that's been the concept that I didn't plan. It just kind of was placed in my heart, but that's been my concept since I began my entrepreneur career, which has been over 25 years ago. And each stage, every stage is not a celebration, but that doesn't mean the dream is not still there. So every stage has been different. And been this past season has been things that I didn't know the dream, but was part of the dream. And that's been what the biggest and most rewarding thing about the journey has been is I didn't know to dream some things, but they were there. They were part of it, and they were supposed to be there. And it just keeps me going to be able to continue to dream.
Yeah. Melissa, it's hard to believe we've only known each other 5 years, but in that amount of time, you've done so much that I've been able to see going back to 2019. Of course, a lot of people got to know you as an event planner, but you've added, even in the past 4 years, let's just talk about the four things you've added just in that amount of time. One, being an author. Okay, that's a big one in itself. Two, hosting your own podcast. Three, now you have all of these marketing services that you're offering to let our audience know about that. Then the fourth thing are these dream parties virtually now you've been able to do. Talk to us about what that's been like for you in the past 4 years to think about the way your business has expanded, Melissa, but also the different ways you've even been able to stretch yourselves.
You know what? It is beyond what I could even have imagined. But the biggest lesson for me is when you think it's the end, it can be the beginning. And that's what happened with me. I had been in the event industry for a long time when the pandemic hit. And then the pandemic hit. And of course, my business was face to face in person. It was 99%. I really was not very good at virtual or technical stuff. I'm not saying I'm good at it now, but I have grown. I have grown, but it was so scary to me. And really, I thought my business was done. I was trying to figure out what am I going to do if I'm not running my own business because I felt like I was supposed to be there, but it felt like the end. But really, Cyrus, it was the beginning. It was just another transition into so many other amazing things that I would have never thought to dream. Being an author was never in my thought process anywhere. And even virtual events, because I was so afraid of technology, that would have never been something I just came up with on my own. But the key was the end was not the end. The end was the beginning of so many other things. And just being willing to step out on fear, not waiting for the fear to go away, because sometimes the fear doesn't go away. You got to act while you're still scared. And
Right.
that's been my lesson over the last 4 years. And every time I continue to move through it, even when I was afraid, even when it didn't look good, it worked out for my good. And that's been the exciting part of the entire journey.
I love that. I want to come back to that about facing the fear. I think that's something our audience can appreciate. Hello to you, Manswell. Good to be able to see you. He says hello as well. And he says a good point here too, Melissa. The fear pushes you higher. And I think that that is such a great thing. And I think that's a great lesson for our audience as well. Melissa, I mean, I tell you all the time too, for myself, I get fearful. I get afraid. A lot of times, when new things are coming up, you don't know what to expect, but you just kind of go for it. But what has it been like for you to see what's on the other side of the fear? We talked about technology. We talked about, having these different things that you weren't even thinking about, like writing a book, and here we are discussing your fourth book here. What has that been like for you to see what's on the other side of the fear when you still push forward?
Oh my goodness. When you push through that fear, when you see what God has planned for you on the side, it just took some steps from you. I'll take for an example what we're doing now, and I know we're going to talk about this, is the dream party. That was one of the things that people would think, why was that so fearful for me? But it was at this big wall for me. I was afraid. That first night I had a knot in my stomach. I felt like I was going to throw up. When that countdown happened, I was literally shaking inside. But oh my gosh, when I pushed through it, I found so much enjoyment on the other side of that fear. And that's my message, is everything you ever dreamed and beyond is just on the other side of the fear. So you can't get stuck in the fear. You got to move to the other side.
Yeah. And let's go to the dream parties then, Melissa, because that's a really good point. If you had not done it, one, you wouldn't have that experience. But two, you literally have customers from coast to coast. One of our mutual friends, Dr. Velma Bagby in California, is a big supporter of you. You have also Dr. Teresa A. Smith, Dr. Taz, there in the Carolinas. You have people like Manswell there in Georgia. Talk to us about that experience. What it's been like for you through the dream parties, to not only to share your own love of your signature pieces, but to see other people appreciate those too.
It's been amazing. I've been able to connect with women in New York, women in California, so many women that found me through the lives, but I've been able to encourage them and inspire them in other ways once they found me. That would have never happened had I not pushed past that fear and did the very first live. So it's so much beyond what's happening right in front of you. You have to be able to take that step to get to what else is there. So it has opened so many doors of connections with women that I would not have been able to make had I not faced that fear and did it anyway.
Such a great point. I You have had this year already, Melissa. I know you already working on your third book of the year, but you've already had two books released this year, both of them being Amazon bestsellers. The first one is a book that I think it was right up your alley. I'm going to go ahead and highlight it in the carousel for those joining us on Amazon. You can get the paperback for $9.99. You can get the Kindle edition there for $3.99, and that is, do I really need an event planner? Our audience can see it there. That is a book that was really designed for you, really. Melissa, talk to us about this book, why you wanted to write it, but also what you wanted people to get from it.
You know what? This book is so mean, right? It when it came, I've been in this industry for a long time. And when I started here in this industry in my local area, event planning was something people were just not used to. They wasn't used to paying for someone to plan their wedding, say. They were used to somebody at the church doing it, a family member doing it. They just wasn't used to that. But so we had to do a lot of educating and teaching people why an event planner is necessary and can make your life a lot easier. Over the years, I found that so many people still didn't quite understand why you need one. I can plan events for myself. I know what it is that I want. I can make phone calls for myself. So the book came to answer those questions so that people would get comfortable with hiring an event planner. In the book, we talk about real life stories, Cyrus, about things that happened. Had it not been for us, the event planner being there, it could have turned into a horrible situation. Instead, it became a memorable experience for everyone that was there. Event planners can also save you money. People don't realize when you call a vendor, you're going to get one price. But the event planner is skilled in negotiating and she has those relationships. She's going to get a better price. It's going to save you some money. You don't know that because you've been planning your events yourself. Not you personally. Well, count on you. But, but I wanted to answer those questions so people can get comfortable with the idea of having someone else help them plan their event. Even in the book, we give you questions when you're interviewing an event planner. We give you suggestions on questions to ask so that you can get comfortable with having some help with creating your vision.
Yeah, such a great point. Dr. Deborah Davis, hello to you. Going to be able to see you over there on Facebook as well. For those who are just tuning in, welcome. You all are watching Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live, but I didn't mention we are simulcasting our broadcast today on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram. I see you guys popping in on YouTube as well as on LinkedIn as well as Facebook, and also, of course, there on Instagram. If you guys have any questions or comments for Melissa, make sure you guys put those in the chat. We're talking with her about her books released this year, her dream party that's coming up the end of this month, but also the new season of her podcast, Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. Again, very on brand for you, Melissa. Talk to us about the podcast for those who are just hearing about it. What is the podcast about, and who is the audience for the podcast?
The podcast is something I absolutely love, and you know that. And I'll tell you the reason. It's what it's all about. It's women. It's women that's sharing their journey, and not just the juicy good stuff that we see when we're scrolling social media. It's not just the good stuff that we talk about and we see and we think that woman woke up yesterday and she was on it and everything was perfect. She went through some stuff. So these women come and they share with us the nit and gritty of the stuff that didn't feel good, the stuff that wasn't good, the moments that they thought they would give up, but they kept going. And then they were able to create the life that they want, which is what we want you to see. We want you to see that, you know what, just because it's not laid out perfect, just because it didn't happen in your time, and just because you faced some really big stuff while you were going through your journey, if you keep going despite the circumstances, you can create the life you want and deserve. And I just believe, Cyrus, when women hear it from other women, it just means different. It feels different. It hits different. And everybody grows from that.
Yeah. You just brought up something really interesting, and I want to ask you about if this has been a challenge for you, Melissa, because you mentioned that you don't just share the good stuff, you share the challenges. Has that been easy for you to do, to share both sides? Yes, people see the successes that we've been talking about this year, but has it been easy for you to be able to share the challenges and struggles that have gotten you here?
You know what? It's not now, but it was a growth process, because I know women look at women like me and they look at other people and they think their lives are great and perfect. And we hide the stuff, the challenging. That's why I try to always remind people, you know what? I get up sometimes that I don't know what to do because that thing I planned went flat and it was supposed to be the thing. So you have to push through those things. And I want women to see that, you know what? We all have some challenges. We all have some things that we face. You just have to want it bad enough to push through it. This week, the Olympics has been on. And one of the things that I pulled from the Olympics this year, for some reason, is each one of those women, each one of those men that were successful, they had some stories behind it. And it's those stories that you push through that help others. And I just want to be that person. I want them to see, you know what, she went through some stuff. It hadn't been 25 years of easy. It's been 25 years of ups and downs, but pushing forward and wanting it bad enough to not quit. And that's why it's so important to share both of those sides.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the Olympics, because one thing I thought was interesting, as I've been covering it on the news side of the show that I do, Conversations Daily News, is that Simone Biles, of course, the name that, I mean, she really has been the star of this year's Olympics. She talked about being on this redemption tour, and I didn't understand that initially when I kept hearing what are they talking about, a redemption tour? But then they were talking about, of course, her having to make those difficult decisions before about pulling out because of taking care of her mental health and awareness. And I want to talk to you about that, Melissa, for yourself and for our audience, because a lot of times we have to make decisions that are best for us.
Mhm.
Other people may think we're making a mistake. Other people may think they counted her out after that. So you know what? She won't be able to do this and do that. And here she has in 2024 proven them all wrong.
Mm-hmm.
What has that been like for you to kind of drown out the noise and to focus on what is the prize for you?
It's critical. If I got stuck in the noise, if I got stuck in the noise of just being an author, I would have had one book, because I heard some negative comment. No, not some negative comment. I heard one negative comment, but it was from somebody that I respected a lot. So the noise of that comment kept coming back in my mind. And that's when I adopted what I do now, is when those negative things happen, when those negative comments happen, when I hear that negative noise, I call it changing the channel. And then I began to look at What's going right? What am I doing well? What is it that I can do to make this journey different? I start changing that channel. And I tell people all the time, you're responsible for guarding your peace because that noise will take over. So you want to be, if you want it bad enough, you want to be able to keep going. So you can't let the noise stop you. You got to change the noise, replace that negative noise with something positive. And that's been the key. And that's why I'm still sitting here. That's why I'm still going, because I still have work to do. But I also found a way to drown out that noise that says, listen, if you were going to make it, you would have made it by now. You know, all those things that you hear, you have to replace that with, I am going to make it because I'm here, because I have more to do. Whatever it is, those affirmations that push you, that's what you change it with. Even on social media, when you start saying some stuff that makes you feel negative or feel bad or question what you're doing, that's why they have so many tools there to manage that. Use those tools. That guards your mind and clouds out the noise that you hear.
And I have to say, I'm better at that than Melissa is. I just unfriend you and
I know.
she goes through these steps of
I go
snoozing.
through the steps.
Ain't nobody got time for all that. That's a whole nother conversation. Melissa, okay, we talked about the dream parties earlier. I want to go back to that because you have one coming up. Let our audience know the date of the dream party and what the focus and theme is of this.
Okay, so the August Dream Party is August 23rd. It's always on 7 o'clock on a Friday night. We're there for about 30 minutes and we're showcasing different pieces. This time we're going to mix it up. In the past, we've had one piece that was the focus for the night. This time we're going to show some necklaces. We're going to show some earrings. We're going to show some bracelets. We're just going to mix it up and make it a lot of fun. And of course, you can always go to the website and shop for any piece that we're not showcasing that night. But this time it's going to be a variety, and it's August 23rd, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time.
Now, this is, if my count is right, I'm getting older. This is the fourth one, right?
Right.
Have you felt the confidence building from month to month since you've been doing them?
Absolutely. And I get excited about it rather than nervous. It's not as nervous. The nerves are still there a little bit, but it's more fun because I realize the connections that happen when you're just having fun and relaxing and doing something that you love. And the people who jump on love it too. And then it's the connections after we even go off, that I've made that just made it so much fun. So now I'm looking forward to it rather than being so scared to death to do it.
Yeah, I love that. We're going to let our audience know how to stay connected with you. Last thing I want to talk to you about, Melissa, and that is your latest book. I'm going to highlight it again in the carousel. I see some people have already been clicking on it there. The Dream by Design Dream Journal. So talk to us. You had the inspirational journal. Talk to us about the Dream Journal and what inspired it.
The Dream Journal is just near and dear to me. And it's because during my journey, I went through a really big dark season in my life. And one of the things that pushed me during that season was I began to journal. I began to write down what I was really feeling at the moment, my fears. Even when I started my business initially, how afraid I was. I started writing down those thoughts that I would have never said out loud to someone, but I started writing them down. Over the years, I go back to those journals, in good times and in times that I need a little push and encouragement. I can go back to those journals and pick it up and read them. And then I can understand where I was and where my growth was. And it just inspires me so much. And I wanted others to share that. That's what the Dream Journal is for. The Dream Journal is for you to just sit down and write. Write your thoughts, your dreams, your fears, your goals. It's for you. And it's for later on, years down the road, what you wrote in there will push you. It will encourage you to go further. So that's why it's so special to me. And one of the most special books that we put out is the Dream Journal.
Love that. Hello to you, Freddie. My cousin's joining us from Georgia there. Good to be able to see you over there on IG. Hello to you. Oh, I'm going to say this wrong. I think it's pronounced Labashu on IG. I apologize if I said that wrong, but I think it's Labashu over on IG. Appreciate you being with us as well. Well, a lot of great things happening for you, Melissa. So excited for you. So I do want to now turn it on our audience. For those out there, it's hard to believe we're in the 8th month of 2024 right now. We're gearing up for what's going to be the final quarter of this year. What advice would you give to our audience about the importance of just starting? Maybe they've been trying to wait till the fear goes away, like we talked about. Maybe they've been waiting on the perfect time. What would you say to them about the importance of just starting today?
Oh my gosh. You know what? You can sit down and you can catalog everything that needs to happen. The money needs to be there. The place needs to be there. The timing needs to be right. You can do that over and over and over again until you start. None of that list is going to happen. I'm huge on lists. Everybody who knows me knows that. But if I just sit up every week and write lists and don't ever take a step, then it can't happen. One thing is guaranteed, one thing failure is guaranteed is if you don't even start it. I use all the time my mom and her cakes. She has to prepare. She takes it all out. She puts it on the counter. Well, if she stopped right there, when we show up on Friday morning for cake and coffee, we're not going to have no cake because it's still been sitting on the counter. So she has to take the next step, right? And put it together and get it into the oven so that we have a great pound cake when we get there on Friday morning. So if you want your dream to happen, make your list, make your plans, and then just take that first step. Because I promise you, once you take that first step, you'll take another step, and you'll take another step. And when you know anything, you're making your dream happen. It's the action. Take the step, make the action, do the work, and your dream will happen.
Love that. Great message, Melvina. Hello to you. Good to be able to see you over there on IG. We appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Those of you on LinkedIn, I see you over there as well. Those of you on Facebook and YouTube, appreciate you guys being with us. Again, everyone, award-winning master event planner, best-selling author, and entrepreneur Melissa Banks has been our guest for this segment, talking with us about the great things going on for her this month. We'll take them through again. Again, the release of her newest book, The Dream Journal, here on Amazon. If you guys are joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or on YouTube, you'll see the link that'll bring you guys over to Amazon to be able to get the books for yourself. We also have the new season of her podcast talk show, Dream by Design with Melissa Banks, and her dream party is coming up for this month as well. So, Melissa, for our audience out there, how can they stay connected with you and keep up with everything that's coming up?
Well, thank you, Cyrus. This has been an amazing conversation. I hope we inspired somebody and got them excited about their life. You can always connect with me at themelissabanks.com, and you can see everything that we're doing. You can listen to some previous shows of Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. You can jump over to the website and see our signature pearl collection. You can even grab your book there. Everything is there. It will take you to all the links for us, all of our social media links. You just have to remember themelissabanks.com.
Love that. Hello to you, Cindy, Prairie Dodgers. Good to be able to see you over there on IG as well. Melissa, really great to speak with you and looking forward to our next conversation together.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, glad to do it. And we thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, I'm Cyrus Webb saying thank you so much for being with us. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.